and welcome to Beacon Hills, the podcast all about Teen Wolf. Today we're talking about episode 409, which was called Perishable. And so what did you think about this episode?
It was better than last week's by like a nudge, and that's not saying much. I'm just utterly disappointed that we're, 3/4 of the way through with the season, and I'm still not excited.
Really kind of puzzled. It is an awful lot like last week when, the three best characters were, the three characters I tend to not like at all. But I liked it, but I'm not sure why I liked it. So it's a little odd for me. I think I liked it because I liked the ending. I thought that the last 15 minutes or so were really awesome. And I was going along good in the first ones, too. Of course, I liked it a lot better than last week, though. So that's another reason, I think, why I liked it better than I thought I would. So anyway, it is ratings time. And our demos stayed the same. We're still at a 0.7. Our viewers did drop a bit. We had 1.484 million viewers, which was about 200,000 less than last time.
So we had a new writer. His name was Eric Wallace. We tend to get new writers, and they tend to be one-offs for the most part. I noticed that. That's kind of a Teen Wolf trend. But we had Jennifer Lynch back as director. She was last seen in IED. So the synopsis for this week, I'm going to keep it short, simple, and sweet. Assassins target Scott, Liam, and Malia at the annual lacrosse bonfire. Lydia shares her family secret, and the benefactor's identity is revealed. So we were off. They actually did reveal it this episode. Talk about a theory come crashing down and burn in the very next episode.
And you know what? I'm good with that, because I'm glad the benefactor has been revealed. If indeed it is the true benefactor and we don't get some kind of massive plot twist at the very end of season 4.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope not.
I did like a few things about this episode, so I guess we could get into favorites. I actually don't have a lot. I have 10, and that's stretching it.
Ooh, I have probably 20 or 30, but I numbered it to 12.
I will talk about this. I guess I'm going to go from probably the macro to the micro. So I'm going to talk about the general Lydia heaviness of the episode. I like that they're trying to deliver on it. I just don't like what's on my plate when they delivered it to my table.
I thought there were some very clever twists to it. I loved that Lydia's grandma was really smart.
Yes, IBM.
Yeah, back at that time, and female IBM. Oh yeah, that woman was smart.
And they had, oh my God, I love this sale. So they were racing in regattas and stuff. That is awesome.
So I really thought that there was some great minor details in there that really sold the story for me. But I did like that she was really smart. I like that they fleshed out hers. And this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, because it is. Of all the minor character flashback episodes, this was the best story.
Well, because it's like with Kira, it's a little different because it's more about the Nigatsuni and not really about, like, Kira was still new and we really didn't really care about her just yet. But this is like Lydia, somebody that's been there since the beginning, and her grandma is a banshee, and she wrote the code for the Deadpool list. It has more of a personal tie to stuff we care about. You know what I mean? I called it, though. They did have a flashback.
Yes, they did. But I literally, because I didn't read any of the previews or anything like that, literally was thinking, oh no, you are not making me sit through another one of these freaking flashback episodes at the end of the season. Because they do. It's always at the end of the season. It's always at a time when the momentum should be kicking in, we should be going, and then they give us these freaking flashback episodes. Yes, and I think that's really worked for them. I really liked this one a whole lot better because it didn't feel like filler as much. For me, number 10 is one of my favorite moments, and it is when Stiles clarifies to the doctor that his dad is sheriff, not mister, demanding that his father gets the respect that he deserves. And I just thought that was a very telling moment and one of my favorite parts about the Stiles sheriff relationship in this episode.
Teen Wolf corniness returns, but in a mild dose. It's where Parrish is in his squad car, and he's getting ready to get burned alive, and he looks to Haig, and he goes, "You're not just gonna listen to a fellow officer burn to death, are you?" And then Haig just puts his headphones in.
Oh, I loved it. I thought that was hilarious. In that same vein, number 9 for me, I adore that Parrish makes more than Douche Cop.
Right? Like, I only make 36. I was like, wait a minute, he's younger, just got there? Really? Well, no, because of his military training, it actually does make sense, though.
That makes zero sense to me, except that my theory is that Douche Cop could only get a job at Beacon Hills because nobody else would take him. And he came after Parrish, after the Nike factory closed and they didn't have any more money.
I think a lot of my stuff has to do with Parrish, actually, because even though this is really low on the list, I love when he comes back into the office and he's naked and he's in ashes and he just proceeds to beat the living crap out of Haig. But what's even funnier is Haig's trying to get the money, and then like after we flash up, kill, not confirmed. I was like, you don't say. If you could have typed just a little faster, benefactor. Another little subtle funny ha-ha.
Number 8 for me, Smart Derek returns. I'm liking Smart Derek. I like Sensei Derek. Do love how we get Smart Derek and Scott's like, what happened to the gun? Derek, you're covered in gasoline. It was just a great moment. I love how Derek, as a human, is now basically kicking butt all over the place. And he's smarter. You think maybe human is its own superpower on Beacon Hills?
You know what? Team Parent is all human. And when they unite together, it's awesome.
Raiden's human. She kicks everybody's butt. Styles is human. He solves half the problems.
I'm telling you.
I do. I'm beginning to think human is a superpower. Danny's human, and he has those massive good computer skills.
You know what? I'm going to have to write some meta about that. My next one is, I love that they bring Parrish immediately to Derek. And they were like, what is he? And Derek's like, he finally doesn't have an answer. And Parrish is just like, are you all psychic? Like, poor Parrish. He's just, but like he's like a semi-official member of the pack now. He's been to the loft. He's been looked over. I just really like that they're just like, okay, they want to protect Parrish too. You know what I mean? It makes me feel a little bit better about his fate.
Number 7, Silent Conversations again. I just love them. I think it shows so much trust in the acting, but I think it also shows the relationships of the characters better. And so when they have silent conversations, it's like, oh, yeah, these guys really are a team, and they don't even have to talk to no one. Quite frankly, sometimes the dialogue's not so great, so I'm happy with that. In this one, we have Derek and Scott having a silent conversation about what to tell Parrish. I like that Scott looks to Derek to determine whether to let him know or not. And then Lydia and Styles have a silent conversation over the cassette tape. And then, for some reason I do not understand, decide to follow him anyway.
The next thing I want to talk about is a Lyndon Ashby / Sheriff Stilinski moment where he goes, I think everything's going to be okay. But honestly, I feel the morphine kicking in. I was just like, you deserve a nice little morphine nap, Sheriff. You've been through so much.
Number 6 for me is Douche Orderly makes Lydia listen to Granny Banshee's death over Styles' protest. I am a big fan of Styles and Lydia's friendship. I like their partnership, actually, is probably a better term, because they really are the detective partners of the show. So I like when they are working together, but I also like when they take care of each other. And they do a great job of that. You know, whenever they're together, it feels like they really do care for each other. I liked when he said, Lydia, look at me. Don't listen, okay? Don't listen to it. Just focus on my voice, all right? You don't listen to it. Black it out, okay? And then demanding that Douche Orderly turns it off. And I like how he doesn't have to see her. He knows she's fallen apart, and he's there for her, even if he can do nothing.
I absolutely love that me and Lydia have something in common, and that's The Little Mermaid. I too was obsessed with that movie. I had the little handheld video game on Game Boy. I I have the book still to this day. I love The Little Mermaid, and well, Holland kind of could pass for Ariel.
That is true. Totally agree. Number 5 for me is Mason. I cannot tell you how much I want to hate Mason because he's just Danny 2.0, but he keeps saying these things that just make me want to like him, and he really needs to stop. I'm not asking because I want to know. I'm asking because I want to help. Aw, that's the aw moment of the night.
I'll raise you one better. Mason kind of saves the day by pulling the plug on the music. But it's like no questions asked. Scott was kind of like, I need to turn the music off. He couldn't do it. Guess what? Mason was like, I'm just going to take this chance and trust, put my trust in Scott and pull this damn plug. So I wasn't expecting that at all. So it was just like, oh, okay.
I wasn't expecting Mason to save the day. I kind of resented him for him, but I'm glad he did. Although I will say that I'm not quite sure that he saved the day as much as we think he saved the day because Derek and Brayden. Major kudos to you, Mason, for being a good friend. Number 4 for me. Styles starts chewing his fingers and Sheriff tells him to stop. I just think that it's, first off, good continuity. It does it a lot. I think that it was a great way to non-verbally show that Styles is freaking out.
Well, I kind of already talked about Malia, but like I was literally like musing on Twitter to myself. I said, I wonder if I'm going to see Malia, aka Shelly Henning. Literally 15 seconds later, there she is, being sassy, snarky, fun, looking beautiful, and like just trying to blow some steam off. I just like that. Like we haven't really seen fun Malia. And this was fun Malia, even though I don't condone quote unquote underage drinking. I mean, you know, she has a lot to chew over.
I like that Malia is not throwing a fit. She's just really matter of fact, and she's like, hey, here's facts. I'm moving on. I don't care. I'm going to have fun tonight. You go save the world if you want.
Oh my God, she totally is Peter's daughter, just saying.
Yeah. I just loved it. All right, I'm going to move into the big guns. Because this is one that I think either makes or breaks the episode for people. People who hate this episode, I think this is part of the problem. And people who love it, I think this is part of the benefit. And that is number 3. Meredith is the benefactor. I am good with this. I have 0 problems with this.
The logic behind making Meredith the benefactor, you're good with it, really.
I'm good with Lydia's family screwed her over and she's getting vengeance. I'm good with that. She's crazy. Go for it. You be crazy. I have problems with some of the other parts of it, but I am good to go with Meredith being the benefactor. I am incredibly happy it's not Peter.
I actually love the backstory on the White Room. Pseudoscience as it is. I just liked it. I like that it like that she actually like spent like all her time and money and energy trying to find an answer to how she predicted the death of the woman she loved and all that stuff. And then I liked how it tied to Meredith.
I didn't like any of that. It felt like filler to me, and I'm like, really? But I bet we both like my number 2. Number 2, Brayden breaks douche cop's nose.
Oh, that was down to my smaller moments, but yeah.
I love that. I was like, woohoo, you go. You did exactly what we all wanted to do since he was harassing Teen Derek.
I actually love the line better. He's like, I just have one question for you. How'd you get those scars? She's like, a werewolf. And then she's like, I have a question for you. How'd you break your nose? What's that supposed to? Boom!
She was just so awesome in that. I love how she also just casually says werewolf.
I know you're going to hate my number 2, actually. I like that Scott is kind of tuned into his beta. Like, Liam has a little PTSD. He's seeing berserkers everywhere and all this stuff, and like Scott just kind of like senses like when he's having that problem, and like it's just making Liam he's a little more or less annoying for me, a little more like he just that IED thing was just dumb, and I really think that now they're just kind of toning it down, but at the same time they can't make him a puppy dog because they did say he had anger issues enough to get him kicked out of another school and all this stuff. But I don't want to see Scott be a crappy alpha like Derek was. And so I think that this is a step in the right direction.
Given the idea that Scott wasn't actually Derek's beta, so he wasn't his alpha.
Well, I mean, to his whole crew, though, I'm talking about the way that Derek tricked Erica, Boyd, and Isaac into becoming aware, hey, you want to be cool, you want to be stronger, faster, better, yeah, let me bite you, and all this stuff. And he basically seduced Erica with his six-pack and all this other stuff, and he never shared information. He always commanded stuff. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, Derek was not only a bad alpha, he was a crappy alpha to, like, his whole pack, and, like, I think, and all this other stuff, yeah. Whereas Scott's just not like that in general as a person, and neither is Derek, but that alpha power really did do a number on Derek, and I don't want to see that happen to Scott. I'd rather see him get muddied in a different way. If you know what I mean.
They won't ever do that with Scott. They can't. He's the all-American hero.
He's the Steve Rogers of this universe.
Yeah, that is the best way to describe him. You know, he can't. He's got to stay a good guy the whole time. My number one thing about this episode is douche orderly.
Oh, yeah, you're on your own on that.
I loved him tonight. I hate this guy. I hate him with a passion. I am glad he is dead. I am. And he better be dead, by the way, Teen Wolf. I loved his dynamic with Styles and Lydia. I love that he thought he was doing everybody a favor, because, man, this guy's just insane, too. It's like, the insanity runneth over in this episode. I loved him. I loved when he's like, but they weren't murderers. I'm not some serial killer like Ted Bundy going around cutting up college girls. He made me laugh every time he was on. Well, except for the beginning. As soon as he put it in the mixtape, he became awesome. Everything about him. He made me laugh. And I just think he's about as nuts as you can get on this show. And this show has had Gerard level nuts.
Peter level nuts.
Uh-huh. He made me laugh. And I cannot believe how much I enjoyed his scenes when I loathe this character. It would be like Gerard becoming my favorite character in an episode.
Well, okay. I got you covered, Phantom. Dawn has clearly been drinking Benadryl before watching Teen Wolf the last few weeks. My number one, obviously, is the scene between Styles and Sheriff Stilinski, and but specifically where Sheriff gets angry, where he's like, "You've been going through my stuff," and then he's like, "I'm the dad, you're the son," and he goes, "I'm supposed to take care of you," and then Styles says, "We're supposed to take care of each other," and that sounds kind of like the last thing Claudia probably said to the two of them when they were in the same room together. And they are supposed to take care of each other. And Styles, it's been shown since the beginning that Styles does kind of take it overboard because his dad is all he has. He makes him eat better. He makes him sleep. He kind of waters down the alcohol, takes it away from him.
Gets him drunk.
When he needs information. It's in his style. Styles is a little devious when he needs to be. But we haven't had a really good father and son moment between these two in a while, and this was the tearjerker. And I just like to see these two together. I love when it feels real. You know what I mean?
It does.
In a supernatural TV show, the relationship between the two of them, it feels real.
I agree. It did feel real, and it's also on my least favorite things.
Wow. Okay. So, time for some issue/shenanigans.
Or just straight up shenanigans.
Yeah, this was full of shenanigans and shenanigans. Well, there wasn't even that much canon in this episode.
No, there wasn't. Yeah, it's just mostly shenanigans.
I have like 7.
I have 12.
Knock yourself out.
First off, Lydia carries $500 on her person. Really? Really? If you're going to tell me that everybody is having money woes and we're going to all fret and howl about our money woes, then first off, you can't have a teen character, have $500 on her and also have the entire place stocked up with MacBooks. I will say I'm beginning to think that the reason they had MacBooks in the last episode is because Styles stole them from the police station, because they all had them too.
You know what? They just might have, because remember when he said, is 3 going to be enough? I think they might be on to something about that. Because I've never seen any of them with a MacBook ever.
Number 11. What the heck? Is there some douche cop poker game group going on? Who are these random security douche cops who are all like, oh, hey, I think it'd be fun to assassinate people tonight? That's right, arson.
No, I thought they were a part of the team with DJ, because like in various little spots in the episode you can see them kind of conversing with the DJ and kind of making that plan like it was too obvious. So I figured all three of them were together and that was just their undercover way. Like they I don't, how long has the Deadpool list been out for the, like, to book a DJ for a school event? It takes like 4 months for stuff like that to be vetted. I'm just saying. To come up with the money for it and all this other stuff. So how long has this Deadpool list been out, and why are our characters so slow in finding out, if that's the case?
I think the Deadpool list just came out, but they killed the DJ and put their own person in.
Okay, I can go with that.
That's what I'm thinking. And I agree with you that they were all working with the DJ. They obviously were, but when he's flicking his bic, he mentions Haig and said, Haig said to burn you.
I thought it said the tape said to burn you.
Oh, I thought he said Haig.
I thought it said the tape.
Okay, we're going to have to go back and listen to that. Number 10. They never told Derek his name was the third cipher key.
Till now, he's Lydia Jr. I'm telling you.
They go to him for answers. They expect him to know stuff, but they don't bother to mention, hey, buddy, we might have a problem here. And then when he tells him that his name is the third cipher key, Derek's just like, yeah, well, whatever. Go with the flow, buddy. What the heck? He is way too nonchalant. Number 9, self-defense lessons for everyone. Everyone. How is it possible that Styles and Lydia still they can't even put up a fight, much less win one? They're all like, oh, yeah, you're gonna tase me. I can't do anything about it. Really? Number 8. What the heck was I seeing on my screen? End credits during the actual show?
Oh, okay, my TV station my personal cable thing didn't mess it up. It was everybody, apparently.
I didn't have it in the first one, but in the rewatch, there are 5 minutes left to go.
Yes.
5 minutes. And suddenly the end credits are popping up? Why? What that was.
Okay, so I just kind of want to talk about Brunsky's big idea. Like, okay, if you're going to make it look like an overdose, put it in the arm or the toes, not the neck. You're an orderly in a hospital. A crazy hospital, give it. But still, the neck is so obvious. When they do the freaking postmortem autopsy, it's going to show up and not look like a suicide.
Number 7 for me is Sheriff being shot and everything that comes with it. First off, we have more money woes. Oh, give it a rest. I'm so tired of hearing how broke everyone is. I'm not exactly rolling in the dough, and you're just depressing me. Then, since when is being shot a postponable surgery? And then, everything is patients pay. You know, I understand what they're trying to say, that whatever the balance is, but, you know, he got shot on the job.
Mm-hmm.
On the job. That makes it a workers' comp issue, first off. And there is no way anybody would have to pay for this on their own. That would be the station paying.
I think all the writers are really young and just really don't know how insurance works. A lot of people don't know how their insurance works. They barely know what a deductible is because we don't believe in finance literacy in high schools or middle schools in America anymore. So, you know, whatever.
And then, if I'm going to get Styles and Sheriff, I'm actually going to get a scene with them. I don't want to see them yelling at each other. I just don't. So, it was real. It made sense. I'm glad they got the financial woes out in the open. I actually agree with Sheriff here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm old. And it is his responsibility, not Styles. I did like the line that Styles said. I did like how worried he was. But for the most part, I was just ticked off about more freaking money problems.
Money Wells is its own character, Dawn. So it's just like, it showed up and it produced something kind of tear-jerk worthy. And yeah, Styles kind of does need to be put in his place every now and then about who's the adult in this relationship.
I agree. I do agree with that. This is the new character that's to die. The Jeep is a character. It needs to stay. It's over the top, and it is way, way, way too much at this point. And at this point, every single time we look at Money Rose, I'm I'm just rolling my eyes and going, oh, just stop.
Speaking of money woes and kind of filler, Scott takes time out to count all the money for no freaking reason. Was it just me?
No, and it's going to be part of number 1 for me.
What the hell was... Somebody explain to me in the middle of this episode why we needed that particular moment.
I do have a problem also, though, because money is missing, correct?
Was that the point of that scene?
I think it was. But they did it so weirdly, and they never widescreen shot so that we could see the whole thing, first off. And then he's counting, and it looks like he should be on 4, but he says 3. And then, because I actually went and rewound this scene over and over and over again, because I was trying to determine if there is money missing or not. He stops counting at 7, but we can't clearly see if he's then mentally counting the rest or if it really is only 7. And so for me, that's a director flaw, because the scene didn't show me what I was supposed to, unless they were trying to confuse me. If that was the purpose, kudos, you have fulfilled your mission.
Yeah, I don't get why it was in there. I don't get why money would be missing either. And because Scott would make a big, like, if it was not his doing, he would make a bigger deal about it.
But the reason he went to count the money is because the zipper is partly open. So someone has been in there, and I am almost positive the whole point of it was that Styles took some of the money.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay, good. Yes.
But it wasn't clear. It could very well be that all the money is there and he just stops counting at 7.
I didn't even know. I only watched it twice, and I just was so fed up with that. I was like, really filler in the middle of this episode. Like, we could have saved that for the next episode and then have him directly confront Styles if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Not wait an episode. Like, come on.
It was bizarre.
It's gonna be in the opening previously on Teen Wolf. Yep. Next week, watch what I do.
And then they'll recap it. It'll be a recap station.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. In which we will still see that it's unclear whether all the money is there or not.
Okay, I'm glad that you took the time to notice that the zipper was open, because for the life of me, I literally could not figure that scene out the 2 times I've watched it.
So there is apparently a point, but it was pointless for this episode.
In an episode that had a lot of filler, mainly that was Liam, we just didn't need another one.
Number 6. Douche Cop is too stupid to live. I'm sorry. He is. I didn't like you anyway, but what the heck? You are arranging a wire transfer after an assassination on a police laptop? In the police station.
Really? The list is just randomly printing out of everybody's printers. What are you, a techno-pagan, Meredith? I had such a problem with that. Exactly. And why are we, come on, if you're doing all this Deadpool list, why do we actually need paper? Like, send it to everybody's cell phones. And was it just me, or did that just seem like overkill?
Let's just say that it's part of number 1. Number 1 has several things on it.
Yes, the return of the list.
All right, number 5. Everybody loved it. I hated it. Parrish learns about the pack, but he doesn't know what he is. I am so thoroughly sick and tired of the guess the supernatural. It's like a recurring theme. We have it every freaking year. Just knock it off. I don't care anymore.
I feel like there's enough clues there that, with the car wreck and him rising from the ashes, and it tied into the season's theme of rising from the ashes, which, because I decided that's what the theme of this season was, and apparently a lot of other people did too, because it's definitely not, we can't go back, because we've been going back. We have 2.0 characters. We have a lot of recurrent stuff from season 1 that didn't need to happen, that's been happening. So yeah, rising from the ashes is the actual theme, and that was a misnomer on the printed materials in the videos.
So the PR team didn't get the message.
Yeah, it was too late. Let's talk about the unnecessary added thing of Lydia's grandmother being a lesbian. Like, I'm really, okay, and I kind of wrote about this on my Tumblr. I'm really kind of tired of Teen Wolf patting its back, talking about, people like us for these reasons, and, how we deal with being gay. You don't. Jeff basically said the universe in which Teen Wolf lives is everybody just accepts that people for who they are whatever orientation, color, race, creed, whatever. And that's just not the way the world works. And so when they keep kind of unnecessarily and superfluously adding that in, it kind of just ticks me off. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things. It's a little too self-congratulatory for me.
I see where you're coming from. It didn't bother me. I was like, whatever. Moving on. Number 4 for me. Liam gives Scott the new Deadpool list with Derek off the list, and Liam's worth $18 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why?
Because he's important to Scott. That was ridiculous. The whole changing of the list is just ridiculous. Everything to do with the list is ridiculous, as we've said repeatedly.
Yeah, number 3 is all going to be about the list for me, too. But number 4 is specifically about Liam on the list.
Why is he worth $18 million? He's been a werewolf for like 4 days.
Yeah, exactly.
It was bad enough when he was worth 4, and Meredith being only worth 1 actually makes a little more sense now, but still.
Yeah, he's now worth more than everybody except for Scott and Lydia, right? What? What the heck?
Why? You're not that important. Don't flatter yourself.
Shoot me if this is where we're going, just shoot me now. You know what? At this point, I want you to just make Liam the Teen Wolf. Let everybody else spin off into college or whatever they're doing, and just go with it. Make Liam and Mason the cornerstone of new Teen Wolf, and we'll go with College Wolf.
Okay, so my next one is no Scott and Styles time together.
Isn't that strange? We're getting towards the end.
I mean, what the heck is this?
Bad is what it is. That is a big Teen Wolf no-no.
If you're gonna give me this dreck, at least give me a Scott and Styles moment at the end, at the beginning, in the middle, the commercial break cliffhanger, something. It makes it a little more bearable.
I like this episode, but this episode had many, many times where we could have had Scott and Styles together. The only thing I could think of was, were they both on 2 separate projects and they couldn't find a day that they could shoot together?
I mean, Styles is on the lacrosse team. He was supposed to be there. And they skipped school. Him and Lydia skipped school again. So Styles is in all kinds of trouble when it comes to that lacrosse team, honestly.
I don't know how he got on to begin with after that tryout, so...
And how did they let other kids from other schools come to their bonfire? Like, we literally had to check IDs at my bonfire. That was like 10, 11 years ago.
Well, I'll raise you one on that, which is not on my list. If this is such a big yearly event that we've never heard of before, how come Scott didn't know he was supposed to wear his lacrosse shirt? He visibly looks around at all these people wearing the lacrosse shirt. He pulls his shirt out and gives the look. And I'm wondering, yeah, you've been on the lacrosse team for more than one time now. Apparently you've been on the lacrosse team for at least 3 years. What?
And he's captain. It's just awful. I kind of hated that, like, coach made him the narc. I understand that his team captain, and why do they have the bonfire on school property? Like, we literally had to go out somewhere else. Like, you're not allowed to burn big old fires in city limits, period, no matter where you live, as far as I know.
Well, and insurance for a school would never cover it at this point. And if it was actually on school property, and that's what it looked like.
And it was, because they get dragged into the school.
There is 0, and I mean 0 chance that there would be alcohol there.
Exactly. They would have been pat down, searched, everything.
Absolutely. You could not be drinking, and it just would not have happened. First off, there would have been a whole lot of
more adult
and supervision there. The kids would never be able to get that close to the fire. That fire would be encircled where you could not get to it. You know, even in a college, after that big debacle, you know, colleges are not letting you do bonfires like that anymore either. You have to do it on private property. So it made 0 sense from an educational standpoint. All right, number 3 is my big logic fail. This list of names with a number by them, and then miscellaneous gibberish, is being printed off of my printer. I look at it, and I say, oh, I must be getting paid for killing these people. If I just kill them, that's going to make me get paid. What the heck? There's no instructions. There is no way to figure out how you're going to reach the benefactor. And if I see a bunch of names on a list with numbers by them, I don't think, oh, I should kill these people. This makes zero sense. Why are you shooting this kill list to everybody's freaking printers and you don't even have instructions for what it means? How in the world did Haig, if he's not a professional, if he got it through, let's say, I don't know, the police station printer, how did he even figure out that when it said Jordan Parrish and had 5 by it, it meant that he was worth $5 million? Parrish didn't even get it. What the heck? I don't get this at all. There are no instructions on the dead list. Everything we saw from anybody's computer was just copies of the dead list. Logic fail on an epic level.
Everything about the list sucks, though.
No. And no instructions on visual confirmation. No instructions on how you're supposed to even do anything with this list. Zero. It makes zero sense.
I mean, I don't understand how Meredith is the benefactor. I don't get it. I mean, I understand, like, she should take her personal beef up with Lydia if that's the case.
Oh, yeah.
Not the whole supernatural community, which she is a part of.
So you mean she's Malcolm Merlin?
Now that you mention it, that might be why I actually hate it so much. I mean, Meredith, like, I like keeping Meredith around, keeping her alive. I like that she's not dead. I like that she's smarter than she seemed. But it just makes no sense for her to be the benefactor and want to take out all the supernatural creatures in Beacon Hill.
I go with, they did literally drive her crazy.
But she can sense human deaths too, and everything else in between, so...
But we don't really know what her powers are still. Still, we don't know what a banshee can do. I made a list of what I think banshees can do based on this episode alone. But I don't really know because we haven't gotten the definitive, this is what a banshee does. You know, for all the exposition the show has, they might want to start there.
I'm taking it from the traditional standpoint of that they can just sense all death in general. Because that's what it seems like Jeff is doing for what I can make heads or tails of. So
they obviously can because she put Styles on the list and Styles not.
Yeah. Or is every banshee different? I mean, some lore about banshees says that they're only directly tied to like a certain tribe or clan, or in this case, and to put it in the Teen Wolf terms, a pack. Mm-hmm. But that's not true for Lydia. I mean, she sits the Negatsuni and all this other stuff, so I don't know. I'm just assuming, like, I mean, it just doesn't work for me. Like, it's a good plot twist, like, don't get me wrong, but it just does not work for me when I try to work out the logics and the logistics of it.
Yeah, there are some definite issues with it. I'm waiting to see what happens in the next 3 episodes, though, because I think that I'm hoping that some of those questions get answered. I don't think it's so illogical now that it will never make sense, like half of these things. But it can go off the rails really quickly. And the fact that they have her in custody in the next episode that worries me.
That's crazy. Like, she's been this mastermind the whole time and now she's getting arrested. Really?
Yeah, my thing is that she's been the mastermind the whole time, and so she reveals herself when a cop has a gun out, and she has no backup plan. That is not smart. And what they've shown of her so far is that she is very smart.
It's a lots of pluses for the character of Meredith and the actress that plays her, but like I said, I'm gonna need some. They got a lot of explaining to do.
All right, number 2 for me. Yes, it is another Teen Wolf rave. Complete with bad music.
Yep.
Yes! And this music doesn't just give me a headache, but it kills werewolves.
Literally my next one, Dawn. Literally the same reason. I think I tweeted that. I said, I'm right there with you, Scott. This music makes my head hurt, too. And I'm a DJ. I don't play that stuff, though. I can't take house, trance, electronic dance music. That's not what I spin. It just messes me up every time.
I don't know. I just don't understand why every 3 to 4 episodes we have to have a rave.
They think they're Gossip Girl. I'm telling. I remember people tried to nail me when I wrote that in a review once. I was like, that awkward moment when Teen Wolf feels like Gossip Girl. They don't have that many parties. Yes, they really do. They really, really do.
At least every 4 episodes. We've had 3 so far this season, and we're on episode 10. For me, I am wondering if it's that they're contracted to have one to play music for MTV. Is that what this is?
No, because there's been plenty of episodes. Like, the premieres almost always have at least 10 different songs in them.
So the premiere had a rave. The premiere had a rave.
No, any premiere. If you go back and listen to Teen Wolf, with the exception of maybe season 1, every single premiere has at least 8 songs in it. At least. So it's not that they're contractually obligated. Like, just random episodes any episode can have a random amount of songs in them. So
true.
I think it's a shout out to their to the one part of their gay fan base. Electronic dance music's really big in a lot of the gay circuits and stuff. Like, that's the only thing that I can kind of figure out.
I'm at a loss. If they don't have to do it because of MTV, I just don't understand. And I don't see how anybody is excited about yet another rave.
It's one of those Teen Wolf things, like the shirtlessness that will probably never die. But they don't need to do it so much. Like, once a season, where I can skip that episode, nothing happens in it. Just criminal underuse of Shelley Hennig. Like, I need more Malia in my life. She's the most interesting character this season. She's the most sympathetic.
Yeah.
She really is.
Yeah, Meredith was up there for a while.
Nope, Malia officially became sympathetic character number 1 in this episode. I mean, I still do have sympathy towards Meredith, especially when it was explaining that, Lydia's grandmother was the one that really turned up the dial on her crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then Lydia thought that she pushed her over the edge for suicide. Like, I could totally see it. Mm-hmm. And she is an orphan, and all her family is dead, and she's been in Aiken House for presumably quite a long time. So, I mean, I still do have sympathy for Meredith, but, like, I just can't believe that they would do this to this character. Like,
number 1 is a list, but it's a short list compared to the other ones. And I titled it Minute Drama. They made the biggest deal out of the smallest things in this episode. They lingered on it. They panned in. It was like, what the heck is going on here? And I think this is a director thing instead of a writer thing. First off, we get the intense music and massive pan-in of Liam pulling the plug on his printer.
Yeah, that was utter. You know what? It is a writing issue because it feels like it was filler to draw the episode out.
Then we get the intense Parrish in his car staring at his hands. And then he slowly turns them over and stares some more. And I thought we were going to get something out of this, but then the scene cuts to something else. They randomly jacked up the tension for nothing to happen. Then we get Scott counting his money. And he's counting it slowly, and he's stacking it up, and we're panning this way, and we're watching him count out loud, because apparently he can't count his head, and then nothing. We move to a different one. Then we've got the guy, the assassin guy, security assassin number 1, who flips open the lighter. Then, after the music stops, and Scott's eyes glow red, we get this intense putting the lid back on the lighter. And then nothing. And then, even better, right before the lighter one, we get Mason. Was that the strongest wire ever? He's unplugging the amp, I assume, and he's like pulling on it like it's a tug of war situation.
There's a reason why Mason isn't on the lacrosse team. He ain't got no upper body strength.
I have 0 upper body strength, but I could pull a plug out.
It was industrial strength, Dawn.
The whole episode is bizarre. If one of these things had happened, it would have caught my attention. I'd be like, what the heck? But all of them happened in the same episode. 5 times. And randomly throughout the episode.
I'll tell you what, this episode was shorter even though than most of the episodes. It only ran 40 minutes and 58 seconds. Usually we're at the 42:15 mark. So I mean, I tell you, it was a writing thing, and then the director said, "Crap, got to make this work." No, okay. My number one thing too is filler. I feel like this episode 39 minutes of this episode was filler. They were writing with the end in sight to have the cool plot twist revealed at the end. They even tell you in the commercial, hey, don't change the channel because we're going to tell you who the benefactor is. We know this episode sucks. Just bear with us. Just literally just so much filler in this episode that I could have done without. Like, as much as I said, like, I like the fact that they're trying to flesh out Lydia's banshee powers, connect her with her grandmother and all that stuff. It was filler. Absolute and utter filler. The Malia, the Ray thing was absolute filler. I mean, they could have been attacked on the way home from it, anything. That would have gave us action. There was no action in this episode. I mean, like, if you're going to give me filler, and at least give me some action, even if it's empty action. I mean, there was no Melissa, no Argent. I mean, Sheriff was down and out and hopped up on morphine. So it's just missing so many elements that make Teen Wolf, at the same time giving us the elements of Teen Wolf that I don't like.
I could go with that. I really don't have much to say about that, except that I liked some of the filler better than I've liked some of the other things that weren't filler.
I mean, it's episode, what, 9?
9. Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally 3/4 of the way through the season, and we're still dealing with assassins. We don't even really know if Meredith, the benefactor, one of the benefactors, if that's just another plot twist. It almost has to be.
Not necessarily, because we are 3/4 of the way through. Although, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Yeah, I feel like it is, and that just, I feel like this was just all for shock factor. So.
And that is very true, too. Well, let's go into main characters since we're pretty much going through the grade at this point. So, what'd you think of Scott?
Oh, he was slightly better than last week. He actually, I feel like I didn't see Scott a lot in this episode, and when he was doing something stupid other than trying to comfort Liam. Like, that was his highlight of the episode. Everything else was just meh for me.
I think he definitely stepped back from his leadership potential in this one, with the exception of Liam and their little brotherhood story thingy, whatever. Yeah, I was like, Scott, whatever.
At least the jean jacket made its return, though. I was getting worried about the jean jacket.
I never even cognitively recognized it. I don't, yeah. But yeah, I thought that Scott, for the most part, just he made an intuitive leap that the music was the issue, but that intuitive leap didn't make any sense to me. So when Scott was being smart, it didn't make sense logically to me.
Like the Banshee from last week? Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was to me. It was like one of those intuitive leaps that's supposed to make us either think Scott is smart or make us think that we missed something, or is trying to cover up the fact that none of what's happening actually makes sense.
The answer is C, ladies and gentlemen, if we were keeping track.
So it was like, oh, how did he get to that? Okay. All right. Well, I'll go with that. Well, might as well. And then when he wasn't being smart, it was glaringly obvious. So for me, Scott was also filler, mostly, for this. Like, okay.
Say it with me. Contractual obligation. I think that's going to be the new theme for her. Shenanigans and contractual obligation.
Why? Nice to see you, Malia. Check that episode off the list. What about Styles?
I mean, we saw more in last week's episode than we did this one, am I right? What did he even do this episode besides annoy the hell out of Lydia? Like, I mean, he helped her, like, discover, like, the cipher key would have to do with her. But other than that, Styles was a little annoying for me this episode. Like, he didn't even know that Little Mermaid was originally a short story. Like, really?
Yeah, that was just bad.
I don't know why they go back and forth between smart detective Styles and dumb season 1 Styles. Like, it just needs to stop.
I totally agree with that. I think that he had a whole lot of screen time, though. That's the only thing that I disagree on. Because
quality or quantity? For me, when I say screen time, I mean quality.
quantity-wise he had. But I would say that he had some quality screen time too. I thought that he comes off like a real idiot not knowing Little Mermaid. But I did like the two of them working at detective together. He is the one who realizes that it is connected to Lydia instead of her grandma. Um, I just think they work well together. And then that whole scene, everything from the time that they are kidnapped to the time that they are rescued is the high point of the episode for me.
I think it's his fault they got kidnapped though. Like, come on, you could just abort the mission and go, no, we're good. Like, once they see the mixtape, why do you keep going with it? If you have a bad feeling, just leave. Trust your intuition. When it's Beacon Hills and it's Teen Wolf, trust your intuition and run like hell.
I completely agree. And for me, that is a foul on both characters' parts.
Absolutely.
Because they're both more intuitive than that. Both of them are. And they knew something was wrong. And so it was very much a means to the end kind of thing. And slightly out of character. But we also have seen both of them be very tunnel visioned before.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like that's what it was. It's we must get answers now, so
even if we're dead, we'll write it from the grave.
Why not? Just, have somebody turn on the record player. Yeah. So, dead doesn't mean dead on the show anyway. They die and come back in 2 episodes. And it'll probably be at a time when, Dylan O'Brien is doing publicity for Maze Runner.
Oh my God, my
Colin's
and
doing
my
a Photoshop. Colin's in a Photoshop in Paris. Or photo. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's photo shoot. So yeah, I thought that he was better in this one than he was in several other ones. He had more of a chance to shine as an actor. And he wasn't as goofy. And I like that too. So, I don't know. What about Derek?
Oh, he's been having a couple of good days. I like Hugh and Derek. I'm sorry.
Me too.
I'm good if he never gets his werewolf powers back. It makes him a better character. I'm sorry.
He's smarter. He's stronger.
He kicks butt. Him and Brayden work so well together. I like it. I like Derek. Even though we didn't get. I mean, I kind of was thrown. Well, I mean, I knew we weren't going to find out what Parrish was, but for them to ask Derek and for him not to know, though, I was just like, oh. Derek was on a roll, man. He was on a roll for a while.
To be totally honest, I was shocked that they weren't going to Deaton. That's who I thought they would go to. And then it would not have shocked me one bit that he didn't know anything, or at least didn't tell them. But yeah.
We don't need to see Deaton for a while.
Well, you've gotten your wish.
Yep.
What about Lydia?
Like I said, I like what they're trying to do and flesh her backstory out and connect it to her. But I don't know, like, I just want to know what a banshee is, and until they tell me, Lydia's storyline's going to suffer. But I thought Holland did a really great job, especially when she was ratcheting up the tension about, like, for no reason, by the way, about her dead grandma and her lover. But I kind of liked that it felt like a ghost story around a campfire. I thought she did really well with the material given her. But I didn't like the material, so.
That was another time. How'd she die? It's not the how, it's what happened before. Whatever that was. Yeah, that's it. Give us the big dun dun dun.
Literally.
Be like, whatever.
Yeah, I thought she handled the material well, but I just didn't like the material. Yeah. Except for the end part where she's like kind of reconciling, like her grandmother almost predicted her undoing as well with the tape. I thought that was like one of the best parts of the episode, is her reacting to the tape.
Oh, me too. And I would say that is my acting award of the night. I think that was the best acting that we had all night long. It was powerful. She didn't have any dialogue for the most part. She did say, "You killed her," but other than that, she has no dialogue. And I think just watching her crumble was very powerful. So, I've decided that this episode is the cats in a horror movie episode. It really is, if you think about it. Because Every time something should have been tension and should have happened, it was like the freaking cat that jumps out.
No, it's the bird from Supernatural.
Yes. Yep. Man, that thing makes me jump every time. Except it wasn't as suspenseful as the bird. I don't know. All right, Malia. We kind of talked about her.
Yeah, we already kind of talked about her. Blinked and you literally would have missed her. I was on Twitter. I was on Twitter going, "Hey, I wonder if Malia's gonna be in this episode. Shelly Henning better be in this episode." Oh, hey! But she shined in her little bit of screen time that she did get. It was very real and relatable and understandable, and it actually made sense for the character. Just saying.
Funny. She was comic relief again, and I'm fine with that, by the way.
I'm totally good with that.
Kira, not in the episode.
I can't believe you said that. I was like, well, I meant it. In this episode, I didn't even notice she was missing. Like, she's not pivotal to the team if I don't notice she's missing, is all that I'm saying.
Okay. I noticed she was missing, but I didn't have any problems with it.
Well, she is supposed to be taking care of her mom, so at least there's a good excuse again.
Yes. And I like that they are giving her excuses as they're going through.
I do want to talk about Liam and his PTSD. It actually has a word, most realistic situation in a Supernatural show. He's the only one that has like shown signs of this that is actually affecting him. Like I like that realistic touch. It's something we don't really touch on the Supernatural show ever. People just kind of accept it and move on.
Or they just start showing them drinking all the time.
Or make them think it was a dream. Woo on Grimm, just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, those are not effective ways.
So I like this. I don't want to dwell on it, but I do like this. And it's Teen Wolf, let's be real, we're not going to dwell on it. But I do like that realistic touch.
Very cool. I think I've said everything I have to say about it.
Yes, we know. I don't like the character, but I just want to try to I have to reconcile the fact that he's here to stay for a while, so I'm trying to make the best of a messed up situation.
I will say that they have done a great job of making him more sympathetic than he ever was at the beginning. All right, villain of the week. For me, it's anyone whose name starts with douche and Meredith.
Definitely. We had the 3 assassins, Haig, we had Meredith. It's been jam-packed with minor villains, and I really don't think that it's working for this season. I think it's really slowing the momentum down.
I think that for people who are used to Teen Wolf being a serial drama instead of a procedural drama, I can see what they would have problems with it. It's not affecting me very much because some of my favorite episodes were indeed, standalone villains. It's the villain of the week. So I don't have as much of a problem with it as everyone else does, but it is definitely a break in format.
I don't like procedurals. I gave them up like almost 5 years ago, and I think that's why I'm really not liking this season. Yeah.
So for me, it's been fascinating because some of the best characters this season have been those assassins. Evil Scientist.
I was going to say, I'll give you the chemist, but everybody else kind of sucks.
Awesome. Evil Scientist was awesome. Douche Orderly, loving you right now.
But also, he wasn't a one-off character, though. We've had him since season 3B, so...
Yeah, I'm okay with him going to procedural. I think it's easier to write. I think it is easier to get people caught up with. But I think it's also not what people expected. And
or wanted.
Yeah, I think that is a valid concern that people have. Because if NCIS suddenly became a serial show, people would be like, what the heck just happened?
I know, I literally haven't watched NCIS for probably 5 years, 6 years almost. But I like the comfort that if I did want to start watching that, I know that Ziva's gone or whatever, and I can literally just pick up with that. Okay, she's gone, and nothing else probably has changed for the most part.
There's a comfort in procedurals, but if you're going to switch up the format, you kind of need to give your audience a heads up. I feel like we haven't really had a heads up. Although, as soon as the Assassins started, it was pretty much a given that we were going procedural, at least for part of it. And to be totally honest, this is still very much a serial show. All right. Questions, theories, issues, problems, anything we haven't talked about yet.
knock yourself out. You got questions. I have no answers, but I can chime in with whatever I think.
Yeah, it's not even really questions. It's just me trying to brainstorm, I think. I'm having an issue with banshees as a whole. And what can they do? What can't they do? Are there different kinds? You know, is Lydia just a junior banshee and so she can't do the things that others do? Because looking at this episode, it looks very much like banshees can indeed predict a specific death, not just a general death, which is what we have had so far. It seems like they can predict when someone is going to become a supernatural creature, which we haven't had before either. I mean, she knew Liam would become a werewolf. She knew Scott would become a werewolf. So obviously they have, for lack of a better word, foresight or fortune-telling abilities. You know, and that's not something that we have really seen before either. And was it Lydia's grandma who foresaw these people and put them on the list? Or did she just write the code and Meredith foresaw who these people were and put them on the list? Everything about the list is wonky. From Liam being added before he was a werewolf, if the code's written by Granny Banshee, everybody was added before they were supernatural. Well, Derek presumably was alive at that time, so, you know, we don't know when this code was written, but it had to have been close to when she died, but we don't know when she died either.
They don't even know, they can't even keep track of what year it is, so.
And so the whole thing is just, it's bizarre because I can't put my finger on it. I can't logically follow the timeline. I can't follow the Teen Wolf timeline, period. It feels like I am missing some major components of this Banshee timeline to make it make sense. Right?
You are.
The major thing in it, first off, Banshees have power over electronics. Really? How does that even happen? Because it doesn't really look like Crazy Pants Douche Orderly was into technology.
I think that's our clue that it is a cabal, though.
It's gotta be. It feels like we're missing major components. And if that's because we are, and we're going to find them out in the next 3 episodes, huge kudos. Huge kudos to everyone.
Oh, Dawn, you and your hopefulness. We are missing huge components, but it's very unlikely that they will be fleshed out. We're just kind of expected to take it with a grain of salt, blink our eyes, and keep it moving.
Well, here's the real issue with the timeline. Do banshees age? Because it doesn't make sense if they don't. We've got a real dichotomy, and it comes the second that Meredith walks into the White Room. Because Meredith is Meredith. She's not younger. She is Meredith. Exactly. She looks exactly the same. Maddie looks like she is in her early 50s at the latest. She looks like she's in her 40s.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
She should be a grandma. And she does not look like it at all. She looks like she would be... It looks like when Meredith came into the White Room, it looks like it was 10 years ago. And if that is the case, Meredith has been 18 or whatever, 17, for 10 years. Granny Banshee either has been drinking from the fountain of youth, or her family, or she gave birth when she was 12, and Lydia's father became a father when he was 12. The timeline makes zero sense. Regardless, you cannot have Meredith looking the age she was and Granny Banshee looking the age she was and have that be reconciled. Whether it was 10 years ago or 3 months ago, it does not make sense. It baffles.
That is a good point, but I bet you it's just another one of those continuity errors that they didn't think about.
I would hope not, because I need to know how old Meredith is. Does Meredith just look 17, but really she's much older? If that's the case, that clears up the whole how she could know about code and be this genius on computers.
There has to be different kinds of banshees, and it actually has to be age activated basis. You know what I mean? The way that, from what she said about her being 18 in a few weeks and all that stuff. And, you know, with a lot of mythical, supernatural stuff, it is age dependent. So.
Yeah, but Meredith isn't that, at least if it is not an aging process where banshees age slower than other people, then Meredith and Lydia are not very far apart in age. And Meredith is so far more advanced than Lydia.
Maybe she came from a family of banshees and she killed her banshee family and she pulled a Deucalion, and that made her super strong and super crazy. Just saying! Like, I try to tie stuff together because sometimes something has to make sense and connect from another season is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I would go with that. I could see that. There's so many possibilities first off. So I'm still very, very excited about this story because they can do some fantastic things in the next 3 episodes. So that's my basic questions, issues, mind fracks, whatever.
I definitely think that this isn't the end of the benefactor. I definitely think this has to be a plot twist for me personally. I feel like there has to be more people for such a big plan to go off as successfully as it has gone off.
What's your grade?
This one is a C-.
I hemmed and hawed like Kira. I had to, get, because we did not have any hemming and hawing in this episode.
2
not
episodes
one.
in a row.
I know,
2 crappy
amazing.
episodes. They said we can't make it any crappier, so.
I disagree on your assessment, but I went back and forth between a B-, which I felt was generous, and a C+, which I felt was harder. So I'm skating the line between the two of them.
So the last time you watched it, you gave it a
B-.
Wow.
Generous. First time I watched it, C+.
Okay, I can see that. I just don't feel like Teen Wolf is living up to its potential. So that I'm just very disappointed that, we're officially 3/4 of the way done and everything just feels so up in the air, and I haven't been given my enough stuff that I like about Teen Wolf. Like the Scott and Styles has definitely been thin. All these questions with Lydia, even though they promised us it was a season of Lydia and it was a season of Derek, Derek's been having good days, but really, what happened to him? I want to know. Do you even know, Jeff, at this point? Is that a question and a worry for another day, another season? Probably. That's all I'm saying. It's just not living up to the potential. I mean, I know season 3B is hard to live up to, but I literally feel like we're kind of back at square one in a lot of ways. And that's not a good thing.
No, I would agree with that. I think that anytime your fandom starts wondering if you have a roadmap to what you're doing, it's a bad sign. And I can see why people are having issues. And, when you change the format, like we said, it's hard. You have to be able to justify that you know where you're going, you have a plan. And I think that there's some faith being shaken at this point. Now, in all honesty, I felt the same way in 3A. Where the heck are you going with this? And that one, there's still some loose ends, obviously. There always is going to be. But I feel like that one wrapped up fairly decently.
Yeah.
So I think that we've got a good chance of this wrapping up fairly decently, too. I liked this episode. I liked it a whole lot better than you. And for me, a lot of that had to do with Zeus Shortley because I really, really hated him. And anybody that can fascinate me that much after me hating them that much in one episode, that's a solid win. That's an acting win, first off, and that's a writing win for me. I like the Meredith reveal. I like the idea of a smart, capable villain on this show because we really rarely have that. I like that she has a personal tie to us. It's definitely not an A episode. It's not even a B episode because it does have all that filler. It has some issues with logic just all over the place. Things just aren't gelling right now. And they only have 3 episodes to make that happen. Can they do it? Absolutely. They've done it before. So who's your MVP?
Parrish, because he saved Styles and Lydia, and he has that great rebirth from the ashes scene walking through Punch's Hague. He was the comic relief. He was the brighter spots of the episode for me, so.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. I have nobody. Because I can't make Douche Orderly the MVP.
You can do what you want.
No, I can't, because he's not the most important. The most important would be Meredith.
That most important isn't. The MVP is most valuable to you. What made the episode work for you? That's how I always take it.
Yeah, most valuable I think is Meredith. The most entertaining was Douche Orderly, and I just really don't have an MVP. I was trying to think of a thing that could be an MVP for me, but there really wasn't anything either.
I don't know how you can like this episode that much and then not have an MVP. I think somebody slipped you some Benadryl in your fruit water.
I don't think that I need an MVP.
Okay.
I do have a Best Acting award, and that definitely goes to Lydia. But I think for me, it's more of the interactions, and it's definitely more the moments than anything else.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, what was your best character interactions? We're going to be totally different.
Scott and Malia.
Really? I thought you were going to say Scott and Liam.
No. I'm not drinking Benadryl, dog.
Oh, everybody raving about Scott and Liam.
I was only fan waking that for the fans. I hate it. But if Liam's gonna be around, I gotta make the best of it. But heck no. The day I do that, you need to come to New York to check on me.
Will do. Best character interaction for me, Styles, Lydia, and Douche Orderly. So, what was your best reason to watch? Do you have one, first off?
Yeah, actually. Lydia's grandmother's backstory and how it ties into Banshees and Meredith. I like that they actually did put some thought into it, even though I'm not like really crazy about the execution. It was outside the box. So, kudos for that. And then that they decided not to dedicate a whole episode to a flashback. I think it's the best reason to watch. Like, you get nervous about the flashback, and then it's like, oh, it's over. Woo! I think they learned their lesson on that front, definitely.
Yeah, best reason to watch for me is the reveal of the benefactor. That is the big thing of the episode. It's what you have to know going into the next episode. So
well, not really. They'll show it on the previously on Teen Wolf.
Well, you'll see it on social media too. But I do think that whole ratchet up into the Meredith reveal is huge for this season. So do you have any miscellaneous awards?
The Knock It Off Award. I know that you're on a channel called MTV. I am even okay with the occasional, emphasis on the occasional, medley of songs, but when you have 13 songs in an episode and they tend to take up screen action, knock it off!
Cosign?
Oh my god. Like, I looked at the list of songs and I'm just like, it took up its own page on the Teen Wiki, on the Teen Wolf Wikia. Like a whole page of songs. That's enough.
Yeah, I'll throw you in a rave. Knock it off.
This isn't Gossip Girl. Like, just stop with the parties. I mean, it's so many more creative ways to put them in danger and not have to pay all those extras. Hello?
Yeah, well, see, we are your budget-conscious people right here.
See, that's what they need. Educational consultant, budget management.
Yep. We will cut the fluff.
I could not believe we had all that music. Mainly because I tend to tune it out.
Oh, me too.
But, like, when I was looking at this, I was just like, oh, my God. And not a single person I'd ever heard of.
Well, usually music is something that I pay attention to ever since we did the song to scene polls for Supernatural. But in MTV, in Teen Wolf, I purposely try to tune it out. My miscellaneous award is the It's Beacon Hills Award. Seriously, Crazy Pants Douche Orderly? Cops at Beacon Hills get more combat experience than those on a war front. Even if Parrish was not a vet, he is not a rookie. What the heck? Have you not read the newspaper and all the times that fighting erupts in the police station?
I know, right? I'm surprised they even let him talk.
Yeah, me too.
No email, but if you want to send us email, you can do so by sending it to teenwolf.smgpod@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @BeaconHillsPod. Our Tumblr is welcome to beaconhillspodcast.tumblr.com. And of course, yes, our Facebook page is also welcome to Beacon Hills because we like it We like to make it easy for you guys to find us on social media.
You can also check us out at southgatemediagroups.com. There's loads and loads of podcasts there, so there's something for everyone, and I think that you will enjoy the wide variety that we have.
But if you want to follow me personally on Twitter, I'm at Lilith Hellfire. If you want to check out my blog, I'm starting to do my Orphan Black recap. I just watched season 1 and 2 back to back twice, so I'm really ready to start reviewing it and talking about it. I think that show's fantastic. It's only 20 episodes.
Yes, very true, but that's pretty wow. It is a great show, so I would strongly suggest you check it out too.
And you can find it at lovelovestv.blogspot.com. And remember, loves is spelled L-U-V-S.
Very cool. As for me, I'm at Dawn1, at DAHNE1. On Twitter, that is the best way to get a hold of me. Love to live tweet. I do the Teen Wolf Bingo every week, so if you'd like to play bingo with us, please do. If you get a bingo, holler at me. You can also find me at dawn1.blogspot.com, and I also do the Teen Wolf recaps for Spoiler TV. And that's a wrap on episode 409, Perishable. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, what's dead never stays dead. Because, dude, it's Beacon Hills.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.